A forest at the base of Mount Fuji, where compasses spin and GPS signals die. A city where more than 1,000 wild deer roam the streets like they own the place. And an island so dangerous, so forgotten, the government quietly erased it from official maps. This is Japan, one of the strangest places on Earth. When most people think of Japan, they picture the obvious things: anime, neon lights, samurai history, ultra-fast bullet trains. Yeah, but the real Japan, the Japan that locals know, is something far stranger. This is a country that sits on 4 tectonic plates. A country that has over 6,800 islands. A country where ancient traditions and cutting-edge technology exist side by side, sometimes in the same city block. Today, we are going to look at 15 things about Japan that sound completely made up. Some of them are beautiful, some are eerie, and some will change the way you see this country forever. Let's start with a forest. Fact 1. The forest that breaks compasses. At the base of Mount Fuji, there is a forest so disorienting, people who enter it sometimes never find their way out. Aokigahara, known locally as the Sea of Trees, stretches across 35 square kilometers of ancient lava rock. That rock, hardened over centuries from volcanic eruptions, is packed with magnetic iron, dense enough to confuse compasses, dense enough to kill GPS signals. Hikers who stray off the marked path can walk in circles for hours. Some leave behind colored ribbons tied to branches, just to remember which way they came from. But here is what makes locals pause. Many people in the surrounding towns refuse to enter Aokigahara alone, not just because of the navigation problems. Aokigahara has one of the most haunting reputations in all of Japan, and the trees themselves seem to know it. It is almost completely silent inside the forest. No birdsong, no wind. The volcanic rock absorbs sound. You can shout, and the forest just swallows it. Fact 2. The city where deer own the streets. There is a city in Japan where, if you accidentally bump into a deer, you are expected to apologize to it. In Nara, over 1,200 wild Sika deer roam freely through the city. They walk through temples, wander past shops, and stand in the middle of busy roads without a care in the world. The reason goes back more than 1,300 years. According to ancient Shinto belief, the deer of Nara are messengers of the gods. For centuries, killing one was punishable by death. The deer have learned something extraordinary. If you bow to them, they bow back. Tourists figured this out, and now bowing competitions with deer are practically a local sport. The deer have been living among humans so long that they have simply absorbed the custom. Wild animals, bowing. To tourists, in a Japanese city, this is completely real. Fact 3. It's the abandoned Battleship Island. There is an island off the coast of Japan that once held the highest population density on Earth. Today, it is completely empty. Hashima Island, nicknamed Battleship Island because of its shape from a distance, was a coal mining operation owned by Mitsubishi. At its peak in the 1950s, over 5,000 people lived within its concrete walls. Entire families, schools, hospitals, a cinema, a pachinko parlor. All built on a tiny island barely the size of a football pitch. The population density was over 83,000 people per square kilometer, denser than modern-day Hong Kong. In 1974, when petroleum replaced coal and the mine lost its value, Mitsubishi closed it. Within 3 months, every single person had left. The furniture stayed. The dishes stayed. School textbooks were left open on desks. The island has sat untouched ever since. Wind, rain, and decades have slowly pulled the buildings apart. It is one of the most hauntingly beautiful places in the world, and you can now visit on a guided tour. Fact 4. The Rabbit Island with a dark secret. There is an island in Japan where you will be immediately surrounded by hundreds of rabbits the moment you step off the ferry. Okunoshima, a small island in the Seto Inland Sea, is home to somewhere between 700 and 1,000 wild rabbits. They have no natural predators on the island. They breed freely, and they have absolutely no fear of humans. Visitors bring bags of vegetables. Within seconds of arriving, the rabbits are climbing on your shoes. But Okunoshima was not always this charming. During the Second World War, the Japanese military chose this island specifically because it was small and isolated. They used it to secretly manufacture chemical weapons, including mustard gas and tear gas, producing more than 6,000 tons of poison. The island was so secret it was erased from official maps during the war. Today, a small museum on the island quietly tells this story, even as rabbits hop past the entrance. Fact 5. The country that shakes every day. Right now, somewhere in Japan, the ground is probably moving. Japan sits at the junction of 4 tectonic plates: the Pacific, the Philippine, the Eurasian, and the North American. The result is that Japan experiences roughly 1,500 earthquakes every single year. That is more than 4 per day, every day, 365 days a year. Most of them are small, to barely a tremor, but Japan has also experienced some of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded in human history, including the 2011 Tohoku earthquake, which registered 9.1 on the Richter scale. Rather than trying to fight earthquakes, Japan has learned to work with them. Modern Japanese skyscrapers are built on deep, shock-absorbing foundations designed to let buildings sway, not collapse. Some buildings move up to a meter in either direction during a major quake, all while keeping the structure intact. Japanese children practice earthquake drills in school from the age of 5. The country essentially treats earthquakes as a weather event, something that happens, something you prepare for. Fact 6. The traffic lights that are blue. In Japan, if you are standing at a pedestrian crossing and the light turns green, you might think you are colorblind. Because in Japan, green lights look blue. The Japanese language historically used a single word, "ao," to describe both blue and green. When traffic lights were introduced in the 20th century, the go signal was described as "ao," which technically means blue. For decades, the lights were actually green, but everyone called them blue. Eventually, the Japanese government made a quiet compromise. They shifted the green color on traffic lights to the bluest shade of green allowed under international road safety standards. So technically, Japanese traffic lights are green, but they are legally required to be the most blue-looking green possible, to honor a linguistic tradition that is over 1,000 years old. Visitors regularly do a double take at Japanese traffic lights. Now you know why? We are halfway through the list, and we have covered forests, deer, ghost islands, rabbit islands, earthquakes, and blue traffic lights. But later in this video, we are going to visit an island so dangerous, so wrapped in military history and unexploded ordnance, that even today, civilians are barely permitted to set foot on it. That island is Iwo Jima, and its story is unlike anything else on this list. But first, cats. Fact 7. The island that belongs to the cats. There is an island in Japan where cats outnumber humans 6-1. Tashirojima, off the coast of Miyagi Prefecture, has a human population of about 100 elderly residents. It has over 600 cats. The cats arrived originally to help control mice in the silk farming industry. Over time, as fishing became the island's main economy, the fishermen began feeding the cats and treating them as good luck. Cats near a fisherman are believed to predict the direction of fish and forecast weather changes. Dogs are not allowed on the island. There is a cat shrine in the middle of the forest. And the most popular Airbnb-style accommodation on the island is a series of small cabins built in the shape of cats. The cats own this island. The people simply live there. Fact 8. A train network. So precise. It apologizes for being 20 seconds late. The average delay for a Japanese bullet train is 54 seconds per year. Not per trip, per year. The Shinkansen bullet train network spans thousands of kilometers across Japan, with trains running at up to 320 kilometers per hour. And despite running hundreds of trains every single day, the punctuality record is almost impossible to believe. In Japan, a train that arrives more than 1 minute late requires an official delay certificate, a document commuters can show their employers to explain why they were late to work. These certificates are issued dozens of times per year across the entire country. In 2017, a Shinkansen operator issued a formal public apology because one of its trains departed 20 seconds early. Not late, early. The apology went international. In Japan, punctuality is not just courtesy. It is deeply embedded in the culture. Arriving early is polite. Arriving late, even by a minute, is considered a form of disrespect. Fact 9. More vending machines than people in some cities. Japan has approximately 4 million vending machines. That is roughly 1 for every 23 people. You will find them on beaches, on mountain trails halfway up volcanoes, in tiny villages with populations under 50 people. Japan's vending machines sell everything from hot canned coffee and warm soup to umbrellas, fresh eggs, manga comics, and live fish bait. The phenomenon began in the 1960s as Japan's post-war economy exploded and land became expensive. Vending machines could sell products without needing a storefront, a shopkeeper, or business hours. Unlike many countries, Japan's vending machines are rarely vandalized. The combination of strong social norms around public behavior and low crime rates means these machines, many of which operate completely unguarded in remote locations, function reliably for years. Japan essentially built a second economy that runs itself, entirely, silently. Fact 10. The art of exploring abandoned Japan. Japan has an entire subculture dedicated to exploring the hundreds of abandoned places left behind by its economic collapse. Between the 1960s and 1990s, Japan was one of the fastest-growing economies in the world. Companies built hotels in mountains, theme parks in rural prefectures, and resort complexes on remote coastlines. Then, in the early 1990s, the economic bubble burst. Projects were abandoned mid-construction, businesses closed overnight, buildings were simply left. Today, Japan has thousands of these abandoned places, known as Haikyo, meaning ruins. There are abandoned Disneyland-style amusement parks still filled with rusted rides, deserted hospitals still containing medical equipment, entire hotel complexes buried under decades of vines. Urban explorers travel from around the world specifically to document Haikyo. And in many cases, Japan's incredibly strict trespassing laws mean it is technically illegal to enter, which has done almost nothing to slow people down. Fact 11. The world's oldest continuously reigning royal family. The Japanese imperial family is the oldest continuous monarchy in the world, by a considerable distance. According to Japanese tradition, the imperial dynasty was founded in 660 BC by Emperor Jimmu, making it over 2,600 years old. While historians debate the exact details of the earliest emperors, the dynasty itself is verifiably the longest-running royal family on Earth. For context, the British royal family has existed for about 1,000 years. The Japanese imperial line is more than twice as old. The current emperor, Naruhito, is the 126th in this unbroken line of succession. Every single emperor in Japanese recorded history has been from the same family. No invasion, no revolution, and no political upheaval has ever severed the line, not even Japan's defeat in the Second World War. The emperor today holds no political power, but in Japan, the throne is treated as something close to sacred. Fact 12. The mountain that someone owns. Someone. Mount Fuji is one of the most recognizable mountains in the world, and most of it is privately owned. Most people assume a natural landmark like Mount Fuji would be government property. In fact, the summit of Mount Fuji, everything above the 8th station, which is roughly the final 1,500 meters of the climb, belongs to Fujisan Hongu Sengen Taisha, a Shinto shrine. The shrine has held this ownership since 1609, when the Tokugawa shogunate granted it as a religious endowment. The Japanese government officially recognized the claim in 2004, after years of quiet legal dispute. Every year, about 200,000 people climb Mount Fuji. Many of them pay the 2,000 yen mountain access fee at the 5th station. A portion of that fee goes directly to the shrine that owns the mountain. One of the most famous natural landmarks on Earth, privately owned by a 1,400-year-old religious institution. Fact 13. The island that disappeared. In 2018, Japan officially lost an island. Isanbei Hanakita Kojima was a tiny, uninhabited island off the northern coast of Hokkaido. It was small, barely a meter above sea level, but it was officially registered as Japanese territory. Under international maritime law, that tiny rock gave Japan an additional 500 meters of territorial waters in the Sea of Okhotsk. In 2018, a local author doing research for a book on Japan's remote islands went to find it. It was gone, completely submerged. Eroded away by years of sea ice and winter storms, Japan's government quietly acknowledged the loss. The island had likely disappeared several years earlier, but no one had checked. There is a serious geopolitical footnote here as well. Japan has ongoing territorial disputes with both China and Russia over nearby waters. Losing even a tiny island slightly adjusts the legal boundaries of the sea. An entire island, just gone, and nobody noticed for years. Fact 14. You're the country where crime almost does not exist. Japan's murder rate is so low it is almost statistically invisible. Japan consistently records one of the lowest murder rates of any major country in the world, roughly 0.2 homicides per 100,000 people. For comparison, the United States sits at around 6. Brazil at over 20. The reasons are complex and widely debated. Strong social cohesion, strict gun control laws, a deeply ingrained cultural emphasis on not causing inconvenience or shame to others, a concept known as meiwaku, and a justice system with a conviction rate of over 99%. The practical result is remarkable. Wallets left on park benches are regularly returned to police with all cash intact. Young children travel alone on Tokyo's subway system. Lost items handed into police stations have an extraordinary return rate. In 2019, Tokyo's lost and found system returned over 4 billion yen in cash that had been handed in by members of the public. That is roughly $30 million. Handed in, voluntarily. Fact 15, the island you cannot visit. There is an island in Japan so soaked in history, so dangerous and so restricted that ordinary civilians are permitted to step onto it for just a single day per year. Iwo Jima sits roughly 1,200 kilometers south of Tokyo, alone in the Pacific Ocean. In 1945, it was the site of one of the bloodiest battles of the Second World War. Almost 22,000 Japanese soldiers and nearly 7,000 American Marines died in 36 days of fighting on this small volcanic island. After the war, Iwo Jima remained under U.S. military administration until 1968. Today, it is Japanese territory, but it is an active military base. No civilians live there. Access is almost entirely restricted. Once a year, family members of Japanese soldiers who died defending the island are permitted to visit for a single memorial service. They arrive, they pay their respects, and they leave. For the rest of the year, Iwo Jima belongs to the military and the memory of the dead. Beneath the island's surface, the tunnels and bunkers built by Japanese forces still exist. Some contain unexploded ammunition. Human remains are still being discovered. Iwo Jima is not just restricted. It is, in some ways, still unfinished. Japan may look orderly on the surface, clean streets, precise timetables, rows of vending machines glowing in the dark. But underneath that order lies something far older. An archipelago built on fire and fault lines, a culture shaped by disaster and survival. A people who took the most terrifying facts about their geography and turned them into philosophy. They built buildings that sway so they will not fall. They made peace with deer and rabbits and cats, and earthquakes. They made green lights blue because the language said so. And somewhere, in a forest where compasses do not work, the trees are still swallowing sound. Japan is one of the strangest places on Earth, and every single thing on this list is completely real.